How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Warren Logan, and today we're going to do a quick recap of the Grammys. Now, I did not see it last night. I was going to watch it last night, but I couldn't find a free stream of it that was on my television or I could stream to my television. I have YouTube TV, but unfortunately, YouTube TV, it does not have a TV app as of yet, but that's a whole different story, and I digress. We're going to do a recap of the Grammys from this video. Now, I've seen a little bit of it because I heard about Hillary reading, which was a mess, and I've heard other things about the Grammys. But before we even get into it, I just want to check out this video, and then, of course, I'll be right here on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, and I'll be pausing it at certain points to give my 2 cents. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Well, music's biggest night could not resist the chance to take a few jabs at President Trump.
We remember that this country was built by dreamers, for dreamers, chasing the American dream. Just like dreams, these kids can't be forgotten. And
before she continues with her speech right there, I saw a guy by the name of Tone Talk, so shout out to him. He's a YouTuber. He's kind of in the vein of Yvette Carnell. They are, I wouldn't consider them conservatives at all, but they are more realistic than your average person who is on the black political sphere. So shout out to him. He had this statement that read something along the lines of, you had this white Hispanic who was in a room full of black people talking about how dreamers built the USA. So, you know, even some of the liberals or people that are more along the lines of we was kings, is that and the third, they're against this speech right here. Dreamers, look, the whole thing about dreamers is that they're here illegally. That's the problem. It ain't really nothing else. So all this about, oh, we're all immigrants, is that and the third, that's fine. But if you want to come over here legally, and you too can't partake in the American dream. But I'm going to keep going.
are worth fighting for.
He had a long-time fear of being poisoned. One reason why he liked to eat at McDonald's. Nobody knew he was coming, and the food was safely pre-made.
Bring us your tired, your poor.
Now, my thing about what you just saw with Hillary, I mean, look, if you didn't hear what she was saying, because it was kind of hard to hear, you know, you had a whole bunch of applause. I don't know if that was canned applause. I don't know what that was from the Grammy audience, but I'm going to move on from that topic. She was talking about, in the book, This is Fire and Fury, that Michael Wolff, Steve Bannon, talking about Trump having a long fear of being poisoned. That's why he eat at McDonald's, so you know what's in it. Now, I heard something similar to that earlier, and I think the question was simply posed to Trump, you know, why do you eat McDonald's? And he was like, well, I know what's in it. What's wrong with that? I mean, that may not necessarily be because you fear being poisoned. It may be because you don't want to eat something that's just going to disagree with you in your stomach. You got to travel and stuff like that. So you know what you're going to get. You know how it's going to interact with you. Therefore, you're able to schedule your whole situation around what you're eating rather than not really knowing what you're eating. But let's move on.
And any immigrant who seeks refuge.
You're not a reality.
And before this person right here gets into it, bring us your tired, bring us your poor hodo masses. I mean, that's something that's on the Statue of Liberty. That's a poem that was written that does not necessarily reflect something that is in the law of the U.S. or something that I subscribe to. I mean, anybody can write a poem. Doesn't mean I have to agree with what's in it. A poem can be something that is seen as generally positive, generally negative, or people may see it as kind of in the center. So what poem do you think that we should all abide by? Something that is on the Statue of Liberty just by happenstance? Like, it ain't just there. I think it won a contest or something like that. It ain't like this is a declaration of the United States morals and values. But let's keep going and see what they say about the situation.
Host of the Michael Knowles Show, Michael Knowles. Thanks for joining us this morning, Michael. You heard in that clip there, the crowd just go crazy.
They did go crazy.
Clinton came up on the screen reading that excerpt of the book Fire and Fury. What's your reaction to that and the whole night?
Well, nothing says entertainment quite like Hillary Clinton, right? Isn't that just what the American people want? I don't know when the Hollywood elite and when the music elite will get the point that we do not want to hear their political opinions. The ratings in the key 18 to 49 demographic on the Grammys have been at several-year lows.
Yeah, that's a good point we was making right there. The Grammys, I saw something that said that the Grammys took like a 20% dip from the previous year in 2017. And then that year, it was not that good. I think they had an increase in 2016 or increase from 2016, but it was still not as good as it normally is. I think people are getting tired of hearing these celebrities pontificate about politics. Personally, when I'm listening to an entertainer, like if I'm listening to music in my car, I don't want to hear a super politically charged message. I don't care if I agree with it. I like to hear just the music and that's it. The same thing with sports. I like to have different forms of, media, politics, entertainment, whatever it is. I like to have them in their own little sections. I don't want them to always intersect with one another. And I think the Grammys, what they were doing, they were just basically grandstanding. They also wearing the white roses to be representative of the Time's Up or the Me Too movement. That's still going on right now, but next year it'll probably be a whole different situation happening, and then it'll be another piece of clothing they want to wear to represent that whole situation.
Oscars were at 9-year lows last time around. The Golden Globes had low ratings. People are tuning this out. There was one high point last night when Patti LuPone sang, and it was maybe the saddest reminder of what glamour and class used to look like at these awards shows that have now turned into hysterical, unentertaining political rants that the American people, very rightly, are just tuning out.
It's fascinating, though, because, I mean, when you look at the average, Hollywood musician or Hollywood actor, these are not really the most, I don't want to say the most intelligent people, but they're not the most academic people.
They're not, not dealing with Albert Einstein.
They have these really strong opinions, and we give them this huge platform to make these big statements. Most of these people really don't know what's going on in the country by and large.
They don't know what's going on in the country by and large. A lot of them are just pretty much going with whatever's the hot thing in Hollywood, whatever is politically expedient for them to do for their careers. It's not even about us. These people talking about, X, Y, and Z person is fighting for the rights of the LGBT, the disabled, the minority, or whatever. Are they really fighting for those rights? For their rights, or are they fighting for their own paychecks to increase? Are they fighting for their own place in Hollywood? Is that what's going on? I don't think it's about just trying to help the so-called downtrodden more than it is trying to help themselves. And that's the American way, and that's fine. But don't try to deceive me. Don't try to pull the wool over my eyes and tell me something that is not the actual case.
They live in a bit of a bubble out there where it's sunny every day and they don't have to work very much, and they get to make millions of dollars for doing, they do some good things, but it's not
JayZ. Let's talk about JayZ for a moment. That's a man, JayZ, right there, right in the center of the frame, right here. JayZ had a little bit of a back and forth exchange with Trump. He was on Van Jones' show. Now, if you know about Van Jones, he's on CNN. He's I guess you would call him a contributor, and he's not an anchor as of yet. He's a constant contributor. They do have people on the contract at CNN who are contributors like Van Jones, but I digress. My point is that he's on CNN a lot. But Van Jones, if you didn't know, is signed to JayZ. JayZ has a management company called Roc Nation. I think at one point Roc Nation used to be a record label. It may still be that. If I'm wrong or right, let me know in the comments below. But either way, Van Jones has a management deal under Roc Nation. So, of course, on Van Jones' CNN show, his first guest is going to be basically his boss over at Roc Nation, which is JayZ. Now, JayZ wanted to come on there and wax poetic about Donald Trump, talking about his alleged SO comments were hurtful, this, that, and the third. But meanwhile, this is the guy that was a dope boy until he was like 26. This is a guy, dope boy drug dealer. This is a guy who, after he was a dope boy for an extended period of time, handing out misery to dozens, if not hundreds of thousands of black families, right? After he got done doing that, then he became a rapper, talking about the most vile, disgusting, and egregious things. He had Rockefeller Records. You had a lot of rap acts under that would do a lot of the same things, a lot of the, harmful lyrics, rated R content, movies, and everything else that were violent. But then you do all that in your career, and you want to come out and tell us, the average everyday people, the normies, that Trump's alleged comments were hurtful. If that's the case, then what were the comments that you said in your career? And that what about what you've been saying recently? You got an album out right now, or they may have come out within the last year or two. I'm sure all the words on that album are not PG or below or G rated. You're not making content for small children. So let's just be honest. Let's be clear. All of this is an act. These people, you know, musicians, actors, or whatever, a lot of times when you hear them speak publicly, they're still in the role of an actor. But I'm gonna move on from that.
That hard of a job, I would say. So it's funny to see how opinionated they can be, knowing all that.
And the big takeaway from last night is now everybody is upset that only one woman won a Grammy. And rather than going on stage and having some class and some gratitude and grace and saying, oh yes, it's very nice that I get to make millions of dollars and win gold statues for playing around and pretending all day.
Yes.
You just see millionaires instead who are complaining that they're not making enough millions of dollars and winning enough gold statues. It's a farce that the regular old American people who work real jobs in the real world just don't want to pay any attention to if we're not at least going to be entertained by it.
Very good point that he made there, because it's like, look, okay, I might tolerate the Grammys even with all the political stuff if it was entertaining, but that's not even what it is, because all the political stuff drowns out the entertainment. You've replaced an entertaining show with a politically driven one. Am I watching the Grammys or am I watching the DNC? Matter of fact, I think the DNC and especially the RNC was more entertaining this past year than the Grammys appears to be, right? And I watched the DNC, man, especially like think about it like this. You have the post show, the pre-show, and the show itself. Now, the pre-show for the DNC, you had, I think it was in Philadelphia, if I'm not mistaken. You had these big walls that were surrounding the place to prevent violence. You had them like climbing the walls. I'm talking about Democrats, that is, people that supported the Democrats, maybe protesters that were trying to protest Trump for some reason, but were infiltrating their own DNC celebration. I'm not really sure what was going on with that, but that was entertaining right there, seeing them looking like daywalkers climbing the fence and falling on their hind parts and on their head. That was hilarious. Seeing some of the gaffes of people like W. Washington Schultz, what was the mayor of Baltimore at the time, Stephanie Rawlings Blake, seeing her with the gavel looking like a cold fool. You know, that right there, that was entertaining. Seeing some of the RNC stuff, the pre-show of that, seeing guys like Cenk Uygur and Alex Jones have to fight. I mean, that was entertaining. So I watched that versus watching this. And then, of course, the debates. Oh, the debates were fantastic. So if you can make your Grammy Awards as entertaining as the DNC, RNC, the debates, the election in general, then I might watch it, even though it has a political overtone to it. And then to his point about people complaining that it was not enough female winners at the Grammys. That was a thing that I saw on Twitter. I think it was the hashtag Grammys So Male. I was like, Grammys So Male, really? Why is that a problem? Before it was Grammys So White. I did a video about that. It might have been a couple years ago now. And people were complaining that the Grammys had too many white people. So then what they do is say, okay, we're going to get more. No, matter of fact, I'm sorry. It wasn't the Grammys. It was the Oscars. Oscars So White. That's right. So then all the award show people, they took notice, and then they tried to just put more black people in there. Even if they didn't get the award on their own merit, it was just like, let's get some more black faces or some more non-white faces. So now what you have as a result is most of the, I ain't gonna say most, but an overrepresentation of the nominees and winners are not white. Okay. Because you may only have a certain percentage of the actual industry that is of a certain race, but then you see them win, it's like that much. So the proportion in which they're winning the actual awards is totally skewed to their actual population of the industry. Okay. So you have that going on, but that's not enough. Now you got to have more women because of the whole Me Too kerfuffle. So now you have Oscars So Male. What's going to be next? You got to have all black women win the Grammys. I mean, at a certain point, it's like, okay, what do the awards mean anymore? If the awards are A, not entertaining, B, meaningless, why do I watch? For what purpose? It don't mean anything. It's not entertaining. I don't care about these people. Why am I watching? That's why the ratings continue to decline. And I think maybe they are putting the identity politics and trying to remain important in Hollywood above making money, which is really crazy, but I'm not really surprised.
So I want to get your reaction to comments JayZ made on Saturday on CNN. Let's go ahead and listen to that and then talk to you about it.
Let's hear this.
What you've done was spray perfume on a trash can. And what you do when you do that is, you know, the bugs come and you spray something and then they come and then you create a super bug. And then now we have Donald Trump, the super bug.
And then President Trump responded to that on Twitter, of course, saying, quote, somebody please inform JayZ that because of my policies, black unemployment has just been reported to be at the lowest rate ever recorded. Michael, your thoughts?
Yes.
Well, I do share a last name with JayZ's wife, so we're practically family. And President Trump here, this is his superpower. President Trump is the first Republican in my lifetime who can fight cultural battles and win it. One thing that not a lot of people are talking about is even Donald Trump's tweet is in the form of a rap. Somebody please tell JayZ that my policies, and so on and so forth. And so he's willing to engage it in a fairly trollish way, and you heard JayZ say, because black unemployment is at historic lows, because the economy is doing so well, he can't complain about anything in public policy. So he has to say, billionaire JayZ has to say, oh, money doesn't really matter that much. And then he goes on television, lip quivering. This is a man who pled guilty to stabbing someone at a nightclub, but he says Donald Trump may have used a naughty word. And it's so disingenuous. He's right about one thing, that money isn't everything. Economic policies aren't everything. Culture matters too. Politics is downstream of culture. Fortunately, with President Trump, we get the best of both worlds. Good, sound economic policy and a cultural warrior who is willing to wage these important battles.
Okay, now let's talk about what he said right there. I saw some of that interview, like I said earlier, between Van Jones and JayZ, a.k.a. Sean Carter. And what he's saying is correct. I think Van Jones asked a question about the black unemployment rate. He was like, look, well, Trump has a black unemployment rate as low as it's ever been since they started recording it in 1972, the lowest ever. So doesn't that come for something? And then JayZ said no, because money isn't everything. He was talking about the culture matters and all this and that. I'm like, yo, what are you talking about here? Isn't that really important? If you're going to be this guy that's getting spotted around wearing the 5% Nation chain, you know, and I placed a picture on the screen before you. I know about the 5% Nation. I know about the more science. I know about all of that. I know about Nation of Islam. I know a lot of guys that have been involved with it. I've been involved with it. I won't go too deep into that right now in this video. But the whole purpose of these groups is to empower the black community economically. That's the number one purpose, is to empower us economically, to get money, to build structures, to build, you know, a society of blacks that are able to be self-sufficient. So when you say that the money doesn't really matter, it's not everything, that goes against what you have been out there parroting yourself, you know, and a lot of your raps and a lot of what you represent and a lot of people that you've been around. This goes against that. So when you say it doesn't matter, you're not telling the truth. You say it doesn't matter right now in this moment when you want to interview with Van Jones on television because you want to push the narrative of Trump being a racist. If it was Barack Obama that had the black unemployment the lowest it's ever been, you will be praising him. You will be saying, thank you for helping out the black community. This is what we need. This is what the 5%ers, this is what Noble Drew Ali, this is what all of the people that I followed my whole life, Clarence 13X up in, what was that, Brooklyn, Harlem, whatever. This is what we and people that I've been following my whole life have been talking about. Not, oh, it don't matter because it's more important things than money. That's not how a man like JayZ thinks. So he's lying. But let's keep going.
Okay, so they've got this big plan to do this People's State of the Union. They want to boycott the President's State of the Union tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. What do you think?
Mark Ruffalo, the voice of the American people. I encourage them to do it. Please bring it on. It's being organized by Mark Ruffalo, who is a 9/11 conspiracy theorist who's called on NBC to stop hiring white conservatives. Bring it on. Some people complain that Donald Trump is not likable. He has low approval ratings. I think President Trump could back over the collective dog of the American people. He would still be more likable than these out-of-touch Hollywood elites.
All right, Michael Knowles, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Certainly see how the celebrity State of the Union or whatever they're calling it plays out.
Celebrity State of the Union. That'd be interesting if they have a State of the Union for celebrities. I might have to watch that after I watch the real State of the Union from President Trump. And I will be live streaming that right here on this channel. So make sure you tune in for that on Tuesday. Was that January 30th of 2018? I will be live streaming it. We're going to have a question and answer section afterwards, similar to the way C-SPAN does it, where you could call after the show and give your 2 cents. I'm definitely going to do that here. But to wrap this video up right now, the Grammys was just what I thought it was going to be, a big Trump hate fest, a big, basically conservative hate fest, because it's not about just Trump. It's about everybody that's on the left hating people that are on the right. And that's just pretty much what it is. And like I said, the ratings are going to continue to plummet. It's not going to be an end in sight as long as they keep doing this. And I don't see how they really get out of this. I don't see how they turn the ship in the other direction, because at a certain point, even places like MSNBC try to take more of a conservative lean, because they realize that's what was really going to help them to continue, getting new viewers rather than shedding viewers, rather than just constantly losing people. So maybe the Grammys is going to just kind of fall back off of this, but I doubt it, because like I said earlier, as I close, they are more concerned with just having their place in Hollywood, with still being able to maintain their connections that they have in the organization. And when I say they, I mean those who run it. I mean those who are going to be there, those who are in Hollywood. They had the Grammys in New York City, Madison Square Garden this year for some reason, but they normally have it in LA, and that's where the majority of these people live. They live right in Los Angeles. It's a whole different world there, and they want to still be relevant in that world. So this is the reason why they'll even lose money to go against Trump and the whole narrative. But what do you think? Do you think that the Grammys was good this year? Did you watch it? I did not, of course. I've only seen what I've seen just right here in this video, the lowlights, if you will, of it. Do you think the Grammys was bad if you watched it? Do you think that the Grammys at this point have no more relevance? The people who win the awards win it for different reasons other than their artistry, okay? They win it for political reasons. They win it for popularity reasons. They win it because probably they got some money from the record label to pay the Grammys to make them win. It's a big promotional thing for people's tours, people's books, or what have you. Whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.